McClellan and I'm the marketing director for PromoWest Productions, and today I am going to show you how to make a delicious steakhouse steak right in the comfort of your own home. So the first thing you want to do is make yourself a delicious cocktail. And once you've done that, come back and we'll get started. So to get started, you'll need to get your piece of steak from the fridge. This right here is just a petite sirloin. Really, any cut of steak will do for this. If you have a thicker cut of steak, we'll have to cook it a little bit longer, but we will talk about that once we get to that point. You'll also need some coarse sea salt and some paper towel. And what you're gonna do with the paper towel is just blot the steak on both sides. And once you've gotten it fairly dry, you'll take your sea salt and generously coat both sides. Once you've coated both sides of the steak with the salt, you're actually gonna let that sit to get to room temperature for about 30 minutes. So once your steak has rested for about 30 minutes with the salt all over it, you're gonna wanna preheat your pan. So put your pan to about medium-high heat, and then grab a decent olive oil. I kind of guesstimate here, I would say maybe a tablespoon of olive oil, just so you have a decent coat on the pan. And you're gonna want about a tablespoon of butter. Use the real butter, that's the best stuff. Also, I wanna point out, the best steak is definitely cooked on a cast iron skillet. I realize that not everybody has cast iron, so I am just using a regular standard non-stick skillet. It'll still work just as well, but if you do have a cast iron, I highly recommend that. Also, if you're really fancy, once the olive oil and the butter has melted, you're gonna wanna throw some garlic cloves and some sprigs of rosemary into your pan. I did not have that on hand for this, but if you plan ahead a little bit better than I did, buy those things and toss them in there and you will thank me later. So we're gonna let this pan heat up and we're gonna head over to our steak. So while our pan is heating up, you're gonna take a couple more paper towels, and just like we did before, you're gonna blot both sides and get all that moisture up. And then you're going to take the secret ingredient that is super luxurious and fancy, Grill Time Steak Seasoning from Kroger, and you are going to put that on both sides of the steak. And in the words of my spirit animal, Tabitha Brown, it's 'cause that's your business. Now you can see our pan is extra hot. That oil is sizzling. You just kind of want to mix it around with the butter, get it to coat the pan. And then you're going to toss this bad boy right in there. Now, you're going to leave this in for about 3 to 4 minutes per side based on the thickness of your steak. If you're cooking a filet and it's super thick, you might want to toss it in the oven. We're not gonna have to do this for this step because our steak isn't that thick. Also, if you wanna cook more than one steak, make sure you're just not overcrowding the pan. You want each steak to be able to heat evenly. So at this point, you're just gonna wanna move it around a bit while you wait the 3 to 4 minutes, just so the heat distributes evenly. I always cook my steaks to medium rare. If you like them rare, maybe just do about 3 minutes on each side. Anything more than medium rare isn't worth eating, so I'm not even gonna tell you about that part. You crazy animals that eat your steak well done probably also eat them with ketchup, and that's just not done here. So while you're cooking this, it's a good habit to get some of those juices, grab a spoon, and toss them all over that bad boy. So it's been about 3.5 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and flip it. And look at that sucker. So I'm maybe only gonna do this one for about 2 minutes on this side. Now a good medium rare steak should be about 140 degrees in the middle. If you have a meat thermometer, I highly recommend using it, especially if you're new to cooking and you're not totally sure what a steak looks like when it's done. Rule of thumb should be take it off sooner rather than later. If you burnt it, you kind of screwed it and you can't do anything about it. But if you cook it a little too less, you can always put it right back on that pan. So we're gonna take this off the heat in about just another minute. So once you have a really good sear on it, on both sides, just like so, you might kind of want to put it on either side just to get some of the sides done up. Especially if you have a fatty piece, a little burnt fatty piece is really good. Then you're just gonna take it and you're gonna plate it and you're gonna let this sucker sit for about 10 minutes to rest. So now comes the moment of truth where we take a look at this steak and see how well we did. We've let this guy rest for about 10 minutes. And look at that guy. Perfect. Every time. So good. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you had a good time. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, if you want to. I post pictures of my food literally all the time. And I'll probably do another one soon, so let me know what you're interested in. I love to cook, and I loved having you to my house for a little bit. Have a great time making your own steak, and cheers.